What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Buzz. Paddy Pimblett has made his ambitions crystal clear. He wants to become a two-division UFC champion. Speaking with Red Corner MMA, Pimblett outlined a bold roadmap for his future, starting with his upcoming fight against Justin Gaethje at UFC 324. He believes this matchup is not just another bout, but the opportunity he has earned through years of hard work and perseverance. According to Pimblett, defeating Gaethje will secure him the interim lightweight title, a milestone he has long envisioned. He explained that he always expected to fight for a UFC belt and now sees this moment as the culmination of the dues he has paid throughout his career. He expressed deep respect for Gaethje, calling him a legend of the sport, but remained confident that he will rise to the occasion and claim the interim championship. Pimblett continued by stating that once he wins the interim title, his next target will be Ilia Topuria. He plans to unify the lightweight championship by defeating Topuria, taking what he calls the proper belt. After defending the unified lightweight title, Pimblett intends to move up to welterweight, where he aims to capture a second championship and join the elite group of fighters who have held titles in multiple divisions. What makes Pimblett's prediction even bolder is his confidence in how he believes the fight with Gaethje will unfold. Contrary to public expectations that he will rely heavily on grappling, Pimblett insists he will showcase his striking. He believes he has the power and precision to shock the MMA world with a knockout victory. Pimblett stated that fans might expect him to pursue takedowns or control the fight on the ground, but he has every intention of meeting Gaethje in the center of the octagon and applying pressure from the very first exchange. He concluded by saying he does not see Gaethje making it past the third round, drawing a comparison to how Gaethje struggled against Michael Chandler. With immense self-belief and a clear vision of the path ahead, Paddy Pimblett is preparing to step into the spotlight of UFC 324 with championship aspirations and a determination to prove his critic wrong. Before we jump into the next story, we have a small favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon. It really helps us out and ensures you'll never miss an update. Move on to another news. Henry Cejudo has officially reaffirmed that he is staying retired from mixed martial arts, standing firm in his decision following his recent loss to Peyton Talbot. Speaking candidly, Cejudo, known to fans worldwide as Triple C, shared that he feels completely at peace with closing the competitive chapter of his career. According to him, every major goal he ever set for himself has already been achieved. He became a two-division UFC champion, earned an Olympic gold medal, and secured a legacy that very few fighters in history can match. Cejudo explained that he no longer feels the need to chase new accomplishments or prove anything to anyone. For years, he says, he gave everything he had to the sport: his time, dedication, and passion. But today, he feels there is nothing left that truly motivates him to return to the cage with the same fire he once had. Reflecting on his comeback attempt, Cejudo used a vivid analogy to describe how his body responded. "I'm a Ferrari," he said, "but when I came back, I had a Honda engine." He admitted that he struggled with recovery, pacing, and understanding his physical limits after years away from competition. Despite being aware of these challenges, he pushed forward because he refused to quit or allow himself to curl up. As he put it, he wanted to fight through adversity and finish his career on his own terms. Ultimately, Cejudo expressed relief and gratitude that this chapter is finally behind him. He emphasized that retirement brings him happiness, not regret. Now, he enjoys spending more meaningful time with his family and children, something his fighting schedule rarely allowed. Instead of chasing belts, he is now focused on guiding and helping the next generation of fighters, sharing his knowledge, discipline, and experience with those who aspire to reach the levels he once did. Cejudo concluded by saying that he is content with everything he has accomplished and ready to move forward into a new phase of life, one where his legacy is already secure and his energy is devoted to the people and causes that matter most to him. Move on to another news. Joe Rogan believes that Petr Yan was not at full strength during his first fight with Merab Dvalishvili, suggesting the former champion may have been significantly compromised. On a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience with guest Brendan Allen, Rogan discussed Yan's preparation for their highly anticipated rematch and emphasized how grueling Yan's training camp must have been. According to Rogan, it was clear that Yan pushed himself to the absolute limit. Rogan explained that when you are preparing to fight someone like Merab, who is known for relentless pressure, elite conditioning, and non-stop wrestling, you must deliver a masterclass in preparation. He admitted that he underestimated how well Yan would be able to sustain a high pace for 5 full rounds and initially believed Yan would fade after 1 or 2 rounds. But as he put it, he was completely wrong. Watching Yan's performance made Rogan realize the enormous amount of preparation that must have gone into the fight. He mentioned seeing footage of Yan's training, which showed him performing intense strength and conditioning drills, explosive plyometrics, and high-level cardio work. Rogan said it was obvious that Yan understood the magnitude of the challenge in front of him. Fighting Imavov, he explained, is like staring at a mountain. You have to be mentally and physically prepared to climb it. However, Rogan also pointed out an important detail about their first encounter. According to what he has heard, Yan entered that fight with an injured right hand. The damage, Rogan said, prevented Yan from grappling effectively and limited his ability to throw punches. After watching the fight with this in mind, Rogan noticed that Yan barely used his right hand at all. Everything from his striking combinations to his defensive responses seemed altered, matching the story of him being compromised. Rogan emphasized how psychologically challenging it is to fight when one of your most important weapons is essentially unusable. With only one fully functional hand, Yan would have had to rethink his entire strategy, limiting his combination and altering the rhythm of his striking, a disadvantage that is nearly impossible to hide at the elite level. In Rogan's view, the injury explains a lot about Yan's performance in their first matchup and adds context to how demanding and brutal his preparation had to be for the rematch. It underscores the toughness of a fighter who not only carried an injury into a major fight but also returned stronger, fully prepared to take on one of the most relentless athletes in the division. Move on to another news. Dana White has addressed Francis Ngannou's recent comments and offered a detailed account of their past interactions, clarifying the situation surrounding their long-standing tensions. White began by emphasizing that when he talks about physicality, he doesn't mean Ngannou ever stormed into a room or aggressively threatened anyone. Instead, he explained a specific moment during a heated discussion in which Ngannou insisted he deserved a $50,000 bonus. White recalled telling him directly, "You're not getting it," and as he began to walk away, Ngannou placed a hand on his chest and said, "We're not done talking yet." White responded by telling him the conversation was over and walked out. According to White, this interaction wasn't violent, but it was enough for him to form an opinion about Ngannou's attitude. He explained that he has a personal philosophy. When someone shows you who they really are, you should believe them. White said that he had been one of Ngannou's biggest supporters early on. From the moment he first met the heavyweight, he viewed him as the ideal champion, physically intimidating, incredibly talented, and capable of dominating the division. He was all in on Ngannou. But White says that during an interaction in Boston, Ngannou revealed a side of himself that changed everything. After witnessing what he described as unprofessional behavior, White told his team he no longer wanted to be in business with Ngannou, especially after Ngannou had also suffered a couple of losses. That incident, he says, was the turning point that shaped the UFC's future decisions regarding him. When asked whether the UFC would ever consider bringing Ngannou back, White made it clear there is absolutely no interest. He stated bluntly that there is nothing he could say to make that point more obvious. In fact, he admitted that sending Ngannou to the PFL was a decision that brought him satisfaction. White concluded by saying that anytime the UFC lets a fighter go, he feels sympathy for whichever company signs them next, because there is always a reason behind every release. In Ngannou's case, he believes the UFC made the right call and he has no desire to revisit that chapter. Move on to another news. Khamzat Chimaev has addressed rumors surrounding a potential fight with Nasruddin Imavov, and according to him, he has no personal desire to face Imavov. In a recent interview with ESPN, Chimaev explained that he declined the matchup primarily due to cultural and regional ties. He stated that both he and Imavov come from the same region, with Chimaev identifying closely with Chechen roots and Imavov having deep Dagestani connection. According to Chimaev, a fight between the two could create unnecessary tension and drama between communities in Dagestan and Chechnya, something he wants to avoid. Chimaev added that he and Imavov have known each other for a long time, share mutual respect, and are both Muslims. Because of that bond, he sees no meaningful purpose in fighting someone he considers friendly and familiar. He emphasized that his reluctance is based on personal values rather than fear or competitiveness. However, Chimaev also made it clear that he is a professional above all else. If the UFC decides the matchup must happen, and if Imavov himself wants the fight, Chimaev says he will never refuse. He revealed that he has already communicated this to Imavov's management, assuring that he is open to the fight if necessary. At the same time, he mentioned that he is preparing for a potential move up in weight, and if Imavov prefers to wait until that transition is complete, Chimaev is willing to accommodate that as well. Despite his hesitation, Chimaev reiterated that competition is competition. If Imavov chooses to accept the fight, he will face him without hesitation. But personally, He would rather avoid unnecessary tension and focus on matchups that make more sense both culturally and professionally. The discussion ends with the common question circulating among fans. If Khamzat Chimaev and Nursultan Imavov were to fight, who would win? Viewers are encouraged to share their predictions and thoughts. Move on to another news. Justin Gaethje and Daniel Cormier have both spoken out in support of Arman Tsarukyan as the lightweight contender deals with a frustrating phase in his UFC career. Gaethje, in an interview with Submission Radio, expressed sympathy for Tsarukyan, acknowledging how unpredictable and unforgiving this sport can be. He pointed out that even though Tsarukyan and his fans may feel overlooked, this is simply the nature of MMA. Gaethje explained that timing plays a massive role in career opportunities, recall how he defeated Dustin Poirier only for Poirier to later earn a title shot. According to Gaethje, fighters must accept that many factors are beyond their control and focus on being ready whenever their moment arrives. Daniel Cormier also voiced his support for Tsarukyan. In a recent YouTube video on his channel, Cormier believes Tsarukyan has already done enough to warrant a lightweight title opportunity, at least in some form. He highlighted the fact that Tsarukyan served as the backup fighter for UFC 317 when Ilia Topuria faced Charles Oliveira, which he felt should have strengthened Tsarukyan's standing with the organization. Cormier added that weighing in as a backup, beating Dan Hooker, and continuing to compete at the highest level are all steps that should move Tsarukyan closer to championship contention. He stated that many fans and analysts consider Tsarukyan one of the best lightweights in the world when Islam Makhachev is not in the equation, though he clarified that he wasn't necessarily claiming that himself. Still, he emphasized that Tsarukyan's style poses serious problems for every top contender in the division. As Tsarukyan waits for clarity from the UFC, he's keeping busy. It was recently announced that he will face Shera Bullet in a grappling match on December 30 at Hype FC. The rules are strict. The only path to victory is by submission, with no judges and no decisions. The matchup is intriguing, given Tsarukyan's elite grappling skill against Shera's significant size advantage. Shera stands at 6 feet 1 inch and weighs around 185 pounds. While Tsarukyan measures 5 feet 7 inches and competes at 155 pounds. Fans are already debating how the size versus technique dynamic will unfold and which athlete will impose their style more effectively. Move on to another news. A UFC fight announcement appears to have been accidentally leaked during a live stream, and fans are buzzing about it. Gilbert Burns unexpectedly revealed details about his next bout while appearing on streamer Neon's Kick livestream. The incident occurred while Burns was casually helping Neon put on a pair of gloves, seemingly unaware that the cameras were rolling and thousands were watching in real time. During the conversation, Neon asked Burns when his next fight was scheduled. Burns responded that he would be returning to the octagon in February or March of 2026. He then casually mentioned that he would be facing a Canadian opponent named Mike Malott. The slip seemed unintentional, as Burns delivered the information in a relaxed and unfiltered tone, clearly not realizing the moment would immediately spread across social media. Neon reacted with surprise, acknowledging that he knew who Malott was, while Burns continued the conversation without skipping a beat. The exchange instantly became the highlight of the stream, with fans clipping and sharing the moment before the live stream had even ended. The matchup itself is intriguing, combining Burns' veteran experience and world-class grappling, with Malott's powerful finishing ability and rising momentum in the welterweight division. Now that the news is out in the open, fans have begun debating how the potential showdown might unfold. Burns brings years of high-level competition against elite fighters, while Malott has shown himself to be a dangerous, rapidly improving contender. The leaked matchup raises immediate questions about style clashes, game plans, and whether the veteran can fend off a hungry up-and-comer. With excitement already building for a fight that was never meant to be revealed this early, the MMA community is eager to see whether the UFC will confirm the bout officially in the coming weeks. For now, the discussion is wide open. Who wins this matchup, Gilbert Burns or Mike Malott? Share your predictions in the comments and stay tuned for more updates. Move on to another news. Francis Ngannou is receiving major backlash from the MMA community following his recent appearance on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani. During the interview, Ngannou revealed that his PFL contract will end in mid-2026, just before the anticipated UFC White House card. He also stated that he still wants a John Jones fight once he becomes a free agent. This immediately raised eyebrows, considering his long-standing conflict with Dana White and the UFC. Ngannou claimed his relationship with most people in the UFC remains positive, including Hunter Campbell, though Dana White previously accused him of putting hands on both him and Campbell. White also called Ngannou a bad person, making a UFC return seem unlikely. When Helwani directly asked about Dana's allegations, Ngannou did not deny them. Instead, he said Dana White should be the one to answer those questions and expressed that he no longer has energy for drama. He added that he is disappointed with how things turned out but wants peace and distance from conflict. MMA fans and analysts reacted strongly. Many criticized Ngannou for calling out Jon Jones while still under contract and for appearing to distance himself from the PFL after previously pushing for fighter unions and fair pay. Critics argued that Ngannou's PFL partnership has been damaging, noting he has fought only once for the organization while focusing on boxing, which also stalled after his loss to Anthony Joshua. Fans pointed out that Ngannou avoided directly denying Dana's accusation, leading many to assume the incident may have happened. Others argued that Ngannou has burned bridges with the UFC, dismissed PFL opportunities, and undermined his earlier advocacy for fighter rights. Some believe the PFL can no longer market him without risking financial losses. Several comments highlighted Ngannou's declining leverage, calling him unhireable, loyal only to himself, and a fighter who has damaged his reputation across multiple organizations. Critics also noted the irony of Ngannou once championing fighter welfare, only to now seek a UFC return purely for personal gain. Adding to the discussion, journalist Oscar Willis revealed that he spoke with Dana White and said fans should not expect Ngannou to return to the UFC.